You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek. So I was not sure 100% if I was going to record an episode this week. So the funny aspect of this is the only time I get is to record these is typically at night or during the day when I have nothing going on at some given point in time. It's kind of hard to decide or decipher what may or may not happen as far as that. But so not to go into the update realm because I think that's kind of boring. I've been kind of in a funk lately, and I don't even know why. I don't know if it's the weather. I don't know if it's because I don't know. And it could be like the negativity that's all over social media at this point. I've honestly started weeding out my Twitter, my Facebook. Basically anybody that's got like, for one, if it's politically based, I've just been like dodging it because the job I work is media based and I see enough political stuff. And granted, it's nice to hear it from people that they have a bias, but they're not geared or fired up to the point that it's irritating. They try and see both sides or the where both sides could be coming from. But the thing that kind of irks me is that everybody's posting their opinions on the social media, Facebook and Twitter, especially, of what they feel about the current presidency, the, Democrat, Republican, like, no matter what side of the coin you're on. And I have family that's involved in this garbage too, and I've either unfollowed or unfriended them. So it's not an exclusivity thing. And then I've kind of just been, like, I had well over 500 friends on Facebook. Granted, I never talked to most of them. I don't even barely use Facebook other than to read people's updates or to kind of see stuff. I unliked every page. I found a script that does it for you. And I unliked every page on Facebook so I could start off fresh because I have 9 years worth of garbage that I've liked on there and I didn't want it anymore. So I unliked almost everything. The groups, I had them all turn notifications off through another script. And then I'm kind of going clean slate protocol, almost Tony Stark on it all. Just because I kind of want to, I want to eradicate like a lot of the negativity from my life. I've gotten in this new era where it's just not conducive or helpful. I want to get back to what matters, like life, getting back down to the conversation with everybody. I want to get back down to, just enjoying the fun that everybody used to have like 2-3 years ago. I think that between the geek market and the politics, everything's gotten so freaking wired that it's gotten difficult to actually function as normal human beings. I think people are getting so wound up on it that depression's hitting an all-time high. I think that people are just miserable. And so at this point, like, I would rather focus on the good. Like, for instance, this isn't a great thing, but like Mike the Birdman Dodd, as some of you may know, then some of you may not know, he's been in the hospital for the last 18-19 days because of his health. And he's getting ready to move to a new apartment or a home in another city, Guelph or something in Ontario. And so he was, he's got some weight issues and he was having problems walking and stuff like that. But you can go watch his YouTube videos. It's Mike Dodd on there, or or Birdman Dodd. You can find his vlogs. But he was giving an update, just a daily vlog on kind of what's going on, and I thought that was kind of cool. And I've noticed like since that he's had a noticeable difference in disposition, which has been nice to see coming out of Mike, because most of the time he's so wired and so like wound up that he gets depressed really easily. And I'm not trying to make depression lightly, because I think I suffer from it. I just try and deny it as much as possible, because I feel like that stuff, like, at least for me, I feel like it's a thing in my head. And I feel like if I can conquer it myself, even though most of the time most people can't conquer it on their own, they need somebody else outside to do it. And I think that's partially why I've suffered on this show or other shows I've been a part of. It's just because I think that I've got something upstairs that's not quite tweaked right. And I'm not quite sure why. So I'm kind of unloading a little bit. But yeah, so I've noticed a big difference in Mike Dodd. I think he's doing much better mentally since he's been in there. I see hope in him again, and it's kind of cool to see fellow geek, especially one that I admired, and they just hit their 10-year milestone on Twig, and Blanchard managed to give them a resounding good compilation show between various hosts or people that have been a part of the network over the years, myself included. It was fun hearing some of my outtakes or some of the Double D rants that I was obsessively mashing together back in the day when I used Audacity from various CRNC shows of Twig. Man, that was a long time ago. But so I was sitting here today and I was debating whether I wanted to do this episode, because, like, as always, I have things that I want to talk about, and then I have things that I probably would talk about, but I just don't want to even mess with anymore. So I was editing an episode on a recent show that, or transcribing for my work, and this topic kind of came to me, and I was thinking about it, like, because it's again about, it's written by, or the interviewee was James Altucher, and he wrote a book called Reinvent Yourself. So I was reading this piece, and while I was listening to it, so it basically, he breaks down how he's had to reinvent himself, his interests, his life many times, and then he basically outsourced his self-esteem to but it caused disaster and whatnot in his life. But he says, now with the entire world, technology, governments, the shifting landscapes of opportunity and success are all turning upside down, forcing people to reinvent as individuals and as a culture, which I think is very accurate in that. But, like, some of the things that stood out to me during the actual interview was that he said, some of the steps to reinventing yourself is being healthy mentally and physically, being creative, in a constant state of learning and around people who challenge you, and then solidifying it through people you teach. So, like, I was thinking about this, and it all kind of resonated with me that, isn't that why we podcast? Isn't it so that we can have, like, this external communication with people, and that, so we can, let it out and converse with our friends on the internet, and fans of the same topics, so we can be creative and put this out there and have this out, as a creative way of venting and as communicating in the internet group setting. And then, at the same time, it's technically a constant state of learning because we're learning new stuff with our craft. We're learning to evolve the shows. We're learning about the content we cover. And then, if it's not you that challenges yourself, your listeners do. And then, the solidifying through the people you teach. If you have something that people don't often know about, you're teaching them, so you're solidifying it. So, technically, I feel like podcasting kind of lands right on the center of that. And I think I kind of lost the meaning of the whole thing. A lot of it's been fly by the seat of my pants in some of it. And I know that this is another one of those soapbox things that I've done, kind of like a previous episode, but I think it's just now starting to click, and I understand it. So enough with that. Let's get into some of the awesome stuff that's happening. First of all, Mass Effect Andromeda dropped a team briefing trailer. No, it was earlier in the week. So it kind of gives takes the place of the players far beyond the boundaries of the Milky Way into the depths of the Andromeda galaxy. You become the Pathfinder and lead humanity's search for a new home in this uncharted and unforgiving region of space. So you get to battle new, villains essentially, and there's one N7 guy who's voiced by Clancy Brown, and he essentially trains his two kids, which when you choose male or female in the series, you kind of get one, you get to pick one or the other kid. They're two different characters. They're not like the male and female shepherd. But everything's based around that. So that's kind of an interesting twist to it. And the N7 guy is he's supposed to have worked with the guy who was heading up the Citadel stuff for the weapon against the Protheon weapon. It's supposed to come out March 21st. I actually can't wait for this game. I'm probably going to get it for PC more so because I'm going to sell my Xbox 360. There's no point in having it. I haven't turned it on in probably 6-8 months now. And then on top of that, there's nothing coming out for it, and I'm not buying a next-gen console. I'll just upgrade my PC for cheap. So, moving on, we have there's a lot of theories going around about Snoke in The Last Jedi. Some people are trying to connect the dots, saying that perhaps Snoke is the last Jedi. And then they kind of go back to, the time when the Jedi were founded, before there was such thing as a Sith. They were light side and dark side, or fallen Jedi. And they're making it sound like he could be a fallen Jedi, like this particular video I watched. Which is an interesting take, which would mean that, because he does look older than dirt, he could be older than Yoda, the way he looks. So it would be interesting to see if he was one of the original Jedi that essentially took up the Knights of Ren, because you have the Knights of the Old Republic and that kind of stuff. So I'm wondering if they're going to intertwine that somehow and make it interesting, but only time will tell. So the Nintendo Switch has parental controls, which is kind of awesome because there's an app specifically for the Switch that allows you to set time limits for the kid, allows you to lock out certain material, allows you to see how long they played, see what they played. So it's like a glorified, babysitter in a sense for it, and you can set timers and you can, do all these things or set certain times of the day that it will turn on for that account. But they illustrated it with Bowser and Bowser Jr., which was kind of kind of cool. But yeah, it was kind of enlightening, and I'm kind of glad to see that, because I think that in today's age we do need to limit some of the technology going in. I sit in front of a machine all day, and I see people less than I'm in front of a machine, so it's kind of a I get it. So I personally keep my kids away from electronics any chance I get, but that's because they go to grandparents' houses and do whatever they want. So, yeah, I'm glad to see that actually finally hit a game console, to be honest. So, but leave it to Nintendo to come up with something like that. I don't see Sony or Xbox, doing that. So, Verizon is attempting to purchase Charter Communications, which just ate up Time Warner Cable, which would put them at the #1 cable company in the United States, far beyond Comcast. I hope that doesn't happen, because while some people may see that it's a good thing, I mean, prices are already below, like, as far as cable companies. Because, I mean, really, we have Verizon, which is kind of a contender. Now that Time Warner Cable is a part of Charter, so there's Charter, and then you have Comcast, and then you have AT&T. So you really only have, for the most part, 4 big players. There's some little players depending on the city, but for the most part, it's 4 big players. And the more that these start gobbling up other ones, the more prices are going to go higher, because there won't be any competition. And so, I don't see any good way for this to go down. I hope it gets shot down in the Supreme Court, because it would be a monopoly. Whereas, like, AT&T bought up, Time Warner, their media section, so like all their Warner Brothers and all that kind of stuff. So like AT&T owns all that, which is fine, because that's content, that's not the distribution platform. So I don't know, the world's getting kind of, I don't know, condensed in that aspect. So we'll see how that goes. Star Trek Discovery, of course, dropped a new teaser, even though it keeps, they keep, I don't know what game they're playing, but it's really getting annoying. They showed off, like, the uniforms, which, whoop-de-doo, they look like almost Archer-esque type of uniforms, or Abrams, like, Star Trek Beyond uniforms. They showed off the new captain's chair, which looks like Star Trek The Next Generation Nemesis command chair. They have a female captain, which would normally not be a problem, but if you're going in continuity of the original Star Trek universe, there were no female captains until the late 23rd century, early 24th century. Like, there really weren't. So to me, it's kind of, it's not that I want to be sexist about it, because I'm not. I have no problem, because Janeway was by far one of the most awesome captains. And she wasn't weighed down by, the love romance crap, like, all the time. She actually was a strong captain for having been stranded for 7 years. But my whole beef with it is that, continuity-wise of the original Star Trek, that technically shouldn't be possible. And I don't, because it's supposed to be like 10 years before the original series. So, like, I don't see any way for this to go down and be legit. So I don't know. I'm gonna wait for judgment, but I really don't see myself. I'm not gonna fork over money to watch the stupid show. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on the subject. because I just, yeah, I don't want to deal with that. So with that, I'm going to take a quick break and be back after this.
Hi, this is Pat Fraley, purveyor of Doc Doug and villain voices. And you're watching Altered Geek.
So, we're back. What are some things that you guys would like to hear come out of the show in the next couple episodes? I am looking into a new theme song to be professionally done. I'm looking for somebody to write and sing it and produce it, and then I'm going to use it. But I'm checking Fiverr right now, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I will be taking time off from the show after I hit the August mark of 4 years and the 200th episode. And I'll be taking the rest of the year off because of the move and whatever else happens to go on during that time. So time will tell. So yeah, if there's anything you guys want to hear on the next couple episodes, I will wait until Blanchard comes back to talk superheroes, because the shows were actually really good this week. Maybe we'll do like some awesome kind of geeky top 10 next episode on something like maybe our top 10 favorites of, and then we'll just throw it out there, whatever you guys want top 10s of. I'm probably going to talk about some 3D printed stuff next episode too, but just throwing that out there. So until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.